Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius. Today we're talking Pinterest and we're talking video. My guest is Kristen McDonnell, and she has a very successful YouTube channel called Studio Knit, where she teaches people how to knit. And her YouTube channel has over 190,000 subscribers. She has over 300 videos. Kristen has been experimenting with video on Pinterest. What's working for her, what's not. People complain that they get a lot of exposure with video on Pinterest, but not necessarily clicks over to their site. Well, Kristen is going to share what she's been able to discover. I think this is a really cool interview. So without further ado, here is my interview with Kristen McDonnell. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jillian. I'm so excited to be on here finally.
Oh, I know. Let's talk about, though, how we connected. So we connected because you reached out to me on Milo Tree because you had a question.
Yes,
isn't that right?
I did.
Okay.
I did about the YouTube little pop-up. I wanted to make sure that it was pulling the correct video, and you guys immediately got right on top of it. And I was so excited that I was talking to the real Jillian.
Oh, I know.
in the little text box there. I assumed it was a robot at first, and then I realized, oh wait, no, this is a real human. But it can't be the real Jillian.
Oh, that's so
and
funny.
It was.
It's me. I'm there. If anybody wants to chat with me, come chat. And then we started talking about Pinterest and video. And you were saying that you have had a lot of success with that. And I've heard mixed things. So I immediately said to you, hey, do you want to be on the show? And we can talk about Pinterest video.
Yes, I'm loving Pinterest video right now. And I'm very excited to share my experience, what I've learned, and to sort of inspire people that are maybe a little bit on the fence about it to give it a try.
Okay, so let's go back to how you started. You're a big YouTuber, my friend, right? I mean, you are. You have like 40,000 followers or subscribers? More?
Like 188.
Oh my God, no, not 140.
I'm getting close to 200,000.
Oh my God. That is incredible. First of all, let's give you props for that. That is really hard to do.
Thank you. In the DIY world, yes, I'm very happy. In the overall YouTube world, it's a drop in the bucket.
Well,
but yeah.
No, still. Okay, so let's talk about then how you got, so you're a knitter, just so everybody knows. And
yes.
Let's talk about your story just briefly, how you got started on YouTube, and bring us up to today.
Absolutely. Well, my background is in marketing communications.
Okay. And
on the side, just as a hobby, I love to knit. My grandmother was an amazing knitter. She's since passed, and she lived on the East Coast, and I'm here on the West Coast in San Francisco. So I never actually had the experience of learning from her. But whenever she would visit us, she was always sitting around knitting and doing these amazing projects and entering in the New York State Fair and winning all these, ribbons. And she was amazing. And but I never directly learned from her. It wasn't until my sister got pregnant for the first time, and I thought, it's probably somewhere in my blood. Let me give this a try. Wouldn't it be fun to knit for a new baby? And so I started looking at YouTube videos, and slowly but surely I started to learn how to knit, but it was a very frustrating experience. So anyway, but it is in my blood. It is in my bones. It is in my DNA. A lot of what my grandmother created, now I have a huge appreciation for.
Wow.
And and so knitting is just a hobby, something that I love gifting to others, charity projects. But making a living from knitting, you quickly learn how much time it takes to make a hat and how much people are willing to buy a hat, and you are never going to make a living simply by knitting. So I never thought of it as something that would be a revenue stream for me. So, how the YouTube channel started. So, I've had a lot of experience with creating websites, marketing, communication, working both as an employee and as a contractor here in the Bay Area for different nonprofit organizations, artists. And my sister in 2013, at Christmas time, she was packing up the car from our parents' house and she was going back down to LA, and she goes, "Oh, wait, I have a question." She was working at what's called an MCN, a multi-channel network. They're not very relevant anymore, but at the time, they really nurtured YouTubers. And so they would take a cut and they would help with brand deals and education. And so she was in that world. And she said, we are, so, and they were a lifestyle company. And so they had a lot of cooking and some DIY, and they were looking to expand that. And she said, do you know of any YouTubers that, knitting channels that you would recommend? And I was stumped, knowing the quality and the caliber that they were looking for. At the time, I nothing came to me, and I said, well, I'll think about it. And then that wonderful light bulb moment a few days later just came to me, and I thought, maybe I could make that knitting channel that I wish existed. And so that's where it started in January of 2014. So I'm in my 6th year now.
And how did you grow it? Like, how did you do this?
Yes. Well, a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work while working full time.
Wow. Okay.
Because there is not money in it, YouTube exclusive, the way that I was doing it for the first few years. So I was working full time, and my idea that January was, well, let me get good enough so maybe in 2 or 3 years a company like my sister's company would want to sign me. Within a month they signed me.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate. And it hadn't, the only influence my sister had was that she let the vice president of programming know that I'd started a channel. And that woman, many of your listeners might know her. She is the creator of Entertaining with Beth, a wonderful food. She has an amazing YouTube presence and blog, and she is a marketer. And so she was doing both at the time. She since also is now exclusively working on her own Entertaining with Beth empire.
Wow.
But at the time, she was their vice president of programming, and she saw my first couple of videos, and she thought that I was onto something, and they sort of treated me like they had like a little incubation center where they gave me a lot of education and tips. My first few videos were filmed on my iPad. Very out of focus. I had this weird cardboard box contraption where I balanced my iPad so that it could look down onto my hands. It was definitely, my sister gave me great advice. She said, just, you're seeing a lot of amazing production quality out there. Don't reach for that. Just use what you have. Get started.
I love that.
And and it is so true, because there's a huge learning curve with video, and the only way you're going to start climbing it is to start doing it.
Yes, it's not taking courses. Again, that's helpful, but it is actually doing it and doing it badly.
Oh yeah.
Right? So do you create
the worst ones are the most popular, right?
Say that again?
Both on Pinterest, the worst ones sometimes become the most popular.
I know.
You can't get rid of them. So both on YouTube and on Pinterest, I'm like, oh, you cringe, but it resonates with people. And that production quality is not always necessary to, reach out and share your message or your education with others.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, now, did you start making videos like one a week from 2000? Yes. Is that what you do now? Do you still do this?
Well, right now we're in the spring season, which is a very low point for me. So I've allowed myself to not be so stuck to that schedule this year.
Okay.
But for the first 5 years, it was every single week. I'm expanding more into my blog and doing education and different products right now. So, but I do my email list is always once a week because that's my favorite part of all of this.
Okay.
That direct contact with my email list. But they recommend YouTube, that whole YouTube algorithm, if you want to feed it the way that it wants.
Right.
Regularly posting is what's recommended. But I'm shying away from, being so tied to all of these algorithms and just doing what makes me happy right now.
That's great. Now let's talk about Pinterest and video. So
Absolutely.
Pinterest looks like they are very excited about video. And rumor on the street is that while video gets good, reach, people aren't necessarily clicking on video. So people are watching video on Pinterest, which is great for engagement. However, if you want to get traffic, that might be more difficult. And what would you say to that?
That's not my experience.
Okay, great.
And I'm curious to know how much blood, sweat, and tears have gone into people that feel that way of trying to make video work on Pinterest.
Okay.
For me, I've been very focused on Pinterest video since December. So let's say for the past 5 months.
Okay.
And I've seen amazing results. Right now I just did a quick little look before we connected, and out of the top 20 pins that are driving traffic, 18 are video right now.
All right, let's break it down. Let's talk about what you are doing. What is your process? How are you creating these video pins?
Okay. First off, I want to say that the impressions are really high.
Right.
And so maybe looking at that click-through rate is disappointing to people, but I'm not spending ad money on it. I'm just playing around for free on my own time. So I actually have pulled back from advertising because all advertising really promises you are impressions. And that's what video is absolutely promising these days. Lots of impressions, because Pinterest is, they have 3 goals this year: IPO, video, and creators. And if they're identifying that video is a priority,
right,
then I don't think that's something to run from.
I agree. When Pinterest comes out and says something, listen. That's what I always say.
Yeah, exactly.
No, wait, just one quick question. How do you monetize your business?
Oh, sure. Oh, one of my favorite topics.
Because that way we can talk about both, your Pinterest strategy and how you monetize YouTube and that kind of thing, because I think that would be very enlightening to the audience, to our audience.
Okay. Yay. All right. So the majority, about 50%, is my website ad revenue.
Got it. And who's your ad network?
MediaVine, and I love them. Big shout out to them.
Great.
And I actually reached out to some fellow MediaVine creators last night to help me with some information that we'll cover in a bit.
Okay, great.
So hello to all of my MediaVine creators and the people behind it. And I'm very happy with my revenue stream, as well as my revenue stream from video. I'm sure this is the case across the board, but on MediaVine, they're very focused on video, and I track my RPMs, YouTube versus my blog, and
let's go through RPMs, revenue per page, right? Yes.
Per million.
Per thousand.
Well, per thousand, right? Yes. M equals 1,000.
Okay.
Which is confusing.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so the money I'm making per view, let's just say, per view is greatly outperforming. I'm making much more money on people looking at my videos on my website versus YouTube, which is another reason why I'm sort of pulling back from doing everything that YouTube wants from me right now, because I'm making so much more money driving people to my website to watch my videos right now.
Got it. So can you, with your level of followers and traffic on YouTube, make a living?
No.
Just on YouTube?
YouTube exclusively? No.
Okay. Unless you're unless you're PewDiePie. you can do it. But otherwise,
Yeah, and I don't think anyone listening is in his
right, exactly.
MO.
I don't subscribe. My daughter wants me to subscribe to him and I don't. But right, okay. So if you're one of these enormous
Yes,
influencers, you can make a living off of YouTube ads. But and again, they also make much more money off of sponsorships. So for you, just
exactly.
for your YouTube income, that's not a livable income.
No, it never has. And that exclusively, it never will be.
Okay. But because you have an ad player on your site that runs ads, right, in front of your video, you can monetize your video on your blog.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so I originally did have the YouTube embeds
Okay.
on all of my blog posts, and really wanting that also to kind of help drive those numbers up on YouTube. But then when I really broke it down and I saw, the difference in the revenue, and it's only increasing on my blog, then I was like, it's time to kind of, think. And it also looks better, I feel, the video players on my blog versus YouTube embed.
Got it.
So,
okay. So you're making, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
I'm sorry. So yes, so my blog ad revenue, that's about 50%. And then other little slices of the pie, they're the YouTube AdSense money, Facebook video, Amazon affiliates.
Wait, what do you mean Facebook video?
I am able to monetize my video on Facebook.
How?
So I make money. I'm not sure how they decide, but I'm one of the channels that they give money to.
No, good for you. You're the first one I've met. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They reached out to me a few months ago and they put me in a program called Launchpad. And they actually gave me quite a bit of money to encourage me to start regularly posting video on Facebook.
Wow.
And so I'm really fortunate there. And they also really helped sort of boost my followers on Facebook as well.
That's amazing. Okay.
So, yes, that was wonderful. That's a very small sliver right now.
Okay.
But it is something,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, so Amazon affiliates, and I also I sell digital products. So my knitting patterns, people will buy. So I have some for as low as $2.60, and it adds up, and that's something I'm really focused on right now. So that's been wonderful, and I sell those both on Etsy as well as a knitting specific website called Ravelry.
Wow, that's terrific. I love how you built your business. Okay, now let's pivot back to Pinterest and go through your process, your video process, and how you're able to get people to click back to your site.
Well, I'm just having fun with it. I'm fortunate that I have a really great video library right now to pull from.
Right.
But I am re-editing them specifically for Pinterest.
Okay, so explain
and
that.
My suspicion, I think a lot of people are putting video up maybe that they edited for Facebook or for YouTube. And that I don't have enough data to say that there's a specific type of video on Pinterest that, is a slam dunk, but I'm having fun playing with a few different varieties of video. So I personally am doing the vertical.
Okay. So what are the ratios?
2x3.
2x3. Okay.
So I'm personally doing 600 by 900.
Okay.
Or you can do whatever the math is for the larger one. But that's working well. And I feel that, with the static video pins, they're pretty adamant that 2 to 3 is what they want.
Right.
So I thought, well, yes, of course, I have all of these horizontal and square videos, but let me work on doing what they say they want and see if that performs better.
Now, what about there's certain people who are doing like a static image and then a video underneath it, but you're not doing that.
Oh, I am.
I am.
And I actually... I thought I invented that before people started talking about it, and how that came to be for me is that a lot of us have created these cut downs specifically for Facebook that are in that square format that Facebook loves.
Right.
And I thought, how can I, so that was already pretty well edited, but just sort of forcing it into the vertical wasn't going to work. So when I was playing with it, I was like, oh well, what if the top portion is square, and what can I do in the bottom portion? Oh, let me do a static image of the finished product.
Wow.
So they might see my hands working, and I'll have a text overlay maybe saying what the project is, but then they know without sitting there and like waiting for me to finish this thing, even if it's only 30 seconds,
Right.
They'll know by looking at that photo underneath it, oh, this is for this certain thing that she's making.
How are
Okay.
you creating those?
I'm personally using Adobe Premiere Pro. And this
Okay.
is where my MediaVine friends came into play, because I reached out to them saying, I know that Premiere Pro is sort of on the more advanced side.
Right.
And I wanted to help give encouragement to people that aren't so confident with the video of the ways that they can do it. So this is what I learned.
Okay. I love
so
this.
iMovie. Yeah, so iMovie, that's how I first started way back doing my YouTube videos. iMovie
Yep.
is a way. Somebody said in Photoshop they're able to do video. I haven't tried that. I use Photoshop all the time. I didn't know that, so that's interesting. Canva, somebody said that they do GIFs
Okay.
that sort of look like video in Canva. Someone said they do Keynote.
Wow.
There's another one called Kizoa, Kizoa.
Okay.
But the big one that the majority of people responded and were raving about is called Film Aura. So
Okay.
the word film and ORA.
Okay.
And I did a quick look at their website, and yeah, they look great. So I haven't tried it, but it looks like a good way to get started in editing video for Pinterest.
Are you a blogger or entrepreneur who loves their business, but is also a little overwhelmed with all that you have to do in a day? So I want to share a tool that will increase your social media followers, grow your email list, build your traffic, all without you having to do anything. It's called MiloTree. So MiloTree is a pop-up app that my husband David built for our first site, Catch My Party. In the 4 years that we've been using the MiloTree app on Catch My Party, our Pinterest account has grown exponentially to over 1 million followers, and our Instagram has grown to over 160,000 followers, and both of these sites drive millions of page views to Catch My Party every single month. MiloTree works to grow followers on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It will grow your sales for your Shopify or Etsy stores, and it will even grow your email list. MiloTree, it's easy to use. It can be installed on your site in under 3 minutes. It won't slow your site down, and it's even Google friendly. The MiloTree app is also customizable. You can focus on growing one platform at a time or switch between several. We also provide analytics. Right now, you can get your first 30 days for free. Just go to milotree.com to sign up for your free trial today. There's really no risk. If you aren't converting readers into followers, subscribers, and customers, you need to change your strategy. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep having the same results. Well, MiloTree will get you the results you need, but it can't help you unless you add it to your site now. So take the first step. Head over to milotree.com and start your free 30-day trial right now. There are no contracts. You can cancel anytime. And as a bonus, once you sign up, I'll send you valuable business tips each week to help you continue to grow your business. Look, you can't be everywhere all the time. So let MiloTree work for you. It's fast, it's easy, and it gets results. So what are you waiting for? Get your free trial today. Go to milotree.com. Are all of your videos in this format with the static image and the video?
No,
Okay.
I'm playing around with different things. So one of the things that is really simple that I feel is really impactful is just taking a static image and slightly moving it either up, like scrolling down or side or vertical with a text overlay and my logo. And so it just sort of catches that eye.
Right.
And for me, with food, there's, the ooey gooey and all that, that great food. In my world, People get really excited by yarn up close. Up close, it's like, woo.
Yeah, like
So
it's,
some up,
I was going to say it's
yeah.
got that like ASMR, like soft feel to it. And
Exactly. So just so some of my best performing one right now is in the last month is a close up. It starts out with a close up of a knit stitch pattern that I did. So just like a little swatch of knitting that I did, an up close sort of like diagonal, and then it goes into watching my hands do a little bit of something, and yeah, it just pulls people in.
so this is a static image, or it starts as a static image and
It
then
starts as a static image, but I have some that are exclusively static image. So there'll be another knitting swatch that maybe just kind of scrolls down a little bit.
interesting.
And that's it.
And
It
how, okay.
catches the
Oh, sorry. Good. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, I'm just saying it just catches the eye, just that little bit. So it looks really similar to my other static images, but it's outperforming them for a couple of reasons. One, because I feel that it is eye-catching. Secondly, these are new pins. So, I've been putting a lot of work into creating new video pins, and so they are fresh pins. They're also some extra
That's so
juice
cool.
there.
Now tell me, how long are your videos?
I'm trying different formats. Overall, about 15 seconds to 30 seconds is my goal.
Okay.
Because I feel people are not pulling up a chair and going to actually learn how to, they're not going to, grabbing their knitting needles and doing it along with me as they do on YouTube or now on Facebook. This, they want to save it and move on. So just enough to sort of entice them to, repin it or to click through to my site seems to be enough. I am also playing around because why not? This isn't costing me any extra money. So I have played around with some longer, like 3-minute videos where I'm actually on camera talking. So if they want to click through and hear what I have to say, they can. But most of them, I'm not doing any sort of sound.
You're putting music in? Or no?
I'm not. And right now you can't hear the sound anyway unless you click the pin.
Okay.
And I'm a big believer that people don't want to hear sound on Pinterest. So
yes.
I do have some that have sound, but overall, I don't think it's necessary right now on Pinterest. Now, the world of video might totally evolve into something else, but I feel like it's just really something to draw people in, get them to click to your site, and then learn once they're there.
So let's say if we were food bloggers, let's say, and we were making little food videos, do you think that people, I'm thinking about like the tasty videos on Facebook, and you would just kind of watch them for entertainment purposes, not necessarily to go make that recipe. You'd kind of be like, oh, I want to see how this turns out.
Yeah.
But on Pinterest, do you think that because people go to Pinterest for recipes to make stuff, that there is more of an incentive to click through, or is there some way in your video that you're getting people to click through?
You absolutely can have a call to action, so if you have like a 10-second video, you can have a call to action and people always respond to that. For me personally, when I'm, I pin food and it definitely catches my eye. I love seeing those hands doing those, quick edits and,
right.
How is this going to turn out?
Right.
And it gets my attention over the static image. It just does.
That's so fascinating. I mean, the whole thing is just, intuitively what you're saying makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get it. And the fact that you are seeing clicks is really interesting. So tell me then about what you do. You literally take the file and it's like adding a pin on Pinterest. Is that right?
Yes. And so I have a few tricks.
Okay.
And this is, right now in 2019, things may change, but right now we cannot schedule through Tailwind video.
Okay.
Some people think they are, but what's actually being scheduled is a static image. So you can schedule somebody's video in Tailwind or your own, but all that will output is a static image.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So that may change in the future. I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it will.
But right now that's the way it is. But Pinterest does have a scheduler.
Right.
And I schedule my videos. So you can schedule up to 30 pins. For some reason, this might just be me. It seemed like after 25, sometimes I was having some issues. So I personally just keep it to 25 so I don't have to deal with that.
Okay.
And I have that old-fashioned Excel doc.
Okay.
That,
Yep.
we've been spoiled by Tailwind, but this is how I'm doing it right now, so that I am able to be very strategic about making sure that all of my videos are pinning to different boards, in different time intervals.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can, once you upload a video to Pinterest, you can then add where you want this to click through to. It's like the same as scheduling any sort of pin?
Absolutely the same. And it's more work. So here's another little trick.
Okay.
When I'm scheduling one particular pin, I will open up, say if I want to schedule it like 4 different times to 4 different boards, I'll create 4 different tabs because there's a lot of copying and pasting of the URL, of the title, of the description. And then I change each description slightly on each.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's more work. It is definitely a focused, dedicated project. But now that I have it down and I'm seeing the results and I'm not spending the ad money to get all of these impressions and, extra traffic to my site, for me, it's worth it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the process is just like you would create a pin, a fresh pin.
Yep.
And I have been very happy with their technology. I have not felt that there's with Pinterest, a lot of times there can be bugs and hiccups.
Yeah, it's glitchy. Yep.
It's glitchy, but with the video, which, would be extra frustrating with video.
Right.
Because it does take some time for it to process. But I have found that it's worked really well for me these past few months. And so you just, you click and you find that video on your desktop or wherever. You add your title,
right?
You add your description,
right?
Your
lots of keywords,
hashtags,
yep, a couple hashtags.
And I have a special hashtag for my videos so that I can. So mine is like hashtag knitting videos.
Okay.
So that I can quickly just see all of them. However, now they have that video tab. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I have not noticed the video tab.
So for those of us who are uploading video, they're including a video tab on your profile. So you can click. So if you were to go to my profile, you can see my video tab, and all of the videos now are right there.
Oh, that's
I also
brilliant.
have a special board that's exclusively video too.
Okay. How often are you adding a new video?
I am currently tasking myself with uploading or pushing out 3 to 4 videos a day.
Whoa, new, or are these ones where you're pinning it into different boards?
Different boards. And as far as new, about like 3 a week. And again, I have, a great library of video. But I like to, so say I have like one specific post, it is really easy to sort of change up each video to make it a new pin. So if I have so let's say for that easy static image that sort of just moves, I have one that moves vertical. I have another that like moves side to side. I have another that moves diagonally. So there's a way to sort of make fresh pins very quickly with the same assets.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And so then you're saving them as different files. You're uploading them as different pins. And then you can take each one and pin it to a variety of boards. Exactly.
And I have that Excel spreadsheet that helps me keep track of all of this because it can easily get confusing.
Yes.
And here's something else that I've been doing. I have started taking these vertical videos, and now I'm also pushing them onto Facebook, and they're performing very well on Facebook too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of neat.
Now, are you also then putting them on Instagram? Because you could put them in your stories.
I should. I am not as prolific on Instagram right now as I probably should be. That's one of the platforms that I'm sort of allowing myself not to put too much time into.
Right. Right.
I wish I could. It's just one of those ones that I'm not that good with right now.
No, I get that.
But I mean, would Instagram, so they have the vertical then, right? With the stories.
Right.
So that would be really, I'm going to put that on my list. May as well try it. I have all these.
And then, by the way, then you could also put them on IGTV, which is also vertical.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah.
And I loved your Instagram podcast last week.
Oh.
That was very inspiring. And I did
good.
do a few of the things, a few of the action items, and I started posting a little bit more on Instagram this week because of it. And I added on MiloTree, I added that Instagram pop-up.
Great. So okay, let's just, as a little segue, let's just talk about what you're growing with MiloTree and how you found it to be.
Oh, yes. Okay. So MiloTree was one of the very first things that I did once I started paying attention to my blog and its potential for growth. And so you were on the Simple Pin podcast,
right,
which is how I learned about you. And so I've had the MiloTree pop up since the fall of 2016.
Oh my God.
I've been really happy with it ever since. Yes. So I immediately did Pinterest.
Okay.
And then you added YouTube. I'm not sure what year it was. It wasn't when I started. It was a little bit later. I got really excited and I emailed you and I was so happy. So happy. So I had Pinterest and YouTube. And then just last week when I heard all the podcast you had about Instagram, I went back and I said, okay, I have to add that because my Instagram following is really low.
Right.
And while I was in there, I noticed that you also had Etsy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Is that new?
Yes, we have Etsy. So what it does is you embed it on your blog or your site. And what it says is like shop buy now or shop my store or something like, I don't even know what it says, but it will then direct people from your blog to your Etsy shop. And you can do it also for Shopify if you have a Shopify store.
That's amazing.
Again,
I was
just talking to somebody yesterday and she goes, oh my God, I got a Shopify sale yesterday from the pop-up.
Oh, wow. How does she know that?
I think in Shopify, she could see where the traffic was coming from. I don't know. I didn't ask her.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when I get my first Etsy sale directly from it, if I'm able to figure that out.
Yeah. If you're able to see, can you see where your traffic's coming from in Etsy?
I'm not sure.
Because like Shopify, you own your store, so you get more analytics. I'm not sure if you will get that in Etsy. I'd have to look into that. But that's okay. So thank you for being such a loyal customer. I am super glad that it is working for you because you are the ideal, you are like the sweet spot of, it can help grow your business while you're not thinking about it, while you're focused on, experimenting on Pinterest, that kind of thing.
Yes. And, my Pinterest journey is pretty recent. I just started focusing on Pinterest 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
I was totally YouTube. It was all YouTube. And then I listened to the Simple Pin podcast.
Right.
I started doing what she said.
Yep.
Within 30 days, my website exploded. I mean, it's almost embarrassing because, she's not one of those, get rich quick, people.
Right.
But let me tell you, it really changed things for me. And now, since then, I've quit my job and this is my full-time thing. And and in that first month is when I added the MiloTree app. And it's really served me, my Pinterest growth. And so at this time, I was treating Pinterest sort of like Twitter. I didn't realize
the power.
Impact that I had no idea. And so when Kate opened my eyes and I started just doing everything she said and it was working, I put a lot of time into it for sure, and I would listen to each of her podcasts twice so that the information really would absorb into me.
Yep.
And she has those great action items.
Yep.
And so I would sit down and do those right after each podcast. And so the Pinterest, so I'm currently, I know they say followers don't matter, but I think maybe because my education was always YouTube, I feel that they do.
I do too. Again, we get millions for Catch My Party. We get millions of page views a month, and we have over a million followers on Pinterest. So again, their algorithms have so many signals that go into it, and when you have, for us, 1 million followers, it says, wow, people like this. They like this content. This is not spammy content. This is valuable. And so I do believe, and also if you look in your followers tab, your follower pins, show up. And if people are interacting with your pins, it just signals to Pinterest, show more.
Oh,
So
right.
there is truth to followers matter. The question is how and why.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Right. And because of the MiloTree app, I went from, 0 to I think I have about 88,000 now. And when I send out new emails, when I send out emails to new subscribers, one of my questions is, I'd love to know how you found me. And a lot of people, when they say Pinterest or any other platform, a lot of times they mention, and you had so many followers. And it does make an impact.
It does. It's social proof.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so a couple more questions just before we wrap up. One is,
Sure.
why were you paying for ads on Pinterest? And did that make sense? Right. Meaning, paying for ads, you're paying for clicks. And does that make sense if you're mostly monetizing via traffic?
It served me well. I think that the knitting specific site that I mentioned earlier, Ravelry,
right.
that has the best bang for my buck.
Yep. So you're not just trying to get traffic to your blog. You're actually promoting your products.
On Pinterest, I am,
Okay.
but once they're on my blog, they get on my mailing list. They learn that I'm on YouTube through the MiloTree app. They come into my world, and I get to know them, and there are a lot of opportunities that come from that.
Got it.
And Pinterest advertising specifically is really special because once you stop giving them money, they keep promoting those pins.
Right. Right.
And you see those, every week they give you the results. I'm like, wow, I spent 0 ad dollars this week, yet, it resulted in all these clicks. You don't see that from Facebook.
No.
And and the price point, per click that I was receiving, I was happy with.
Yep.
And I have put a little bit of advertising money into one video pin right now because I was curious, and I've been really happy with those results.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that those, again, because Pinterest is pushing its video, that you can get relatively cost-effective clicks on video.
Right now, that's my experience. It feels like the gold rush to me. It feels like, before it was, it's a long game. Maybe in 5 to 6 weeks, your static pin will start to get some juice. But right now, Pinterest is like these videos, the impressions, they are pushing it hard. And there's a lot of discovery in video. If you type in some sort of search term, sometimes like a bunch of videos show up at the top. And in suggested videos, also when somebody is looking at one of my video pins, there's suggested pins underneath any pin, right?
Right. Yep.
And for me, they're all mine.
I love that.
My niche right now, not that many people are doing what I'm doing. So I feel like I'm sort of ahead of the game.
You totally are.
I know in food, there's a lot more competition, of course.
Right.
Right. But I think definitely playing around with the assets that you have.
Right.
Within a reasonable amount of time, don't kill yourself over it. But I think, setting aside some time to kind of play with it is worth it these days.
Oh, wow. You are the perfect example of the riches are in the niches.
Oh, well, thank you.
You really are. People talk about, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like, I always say, no, really find your niche and go deep. And you are the model of that.
Well, thank you. Yes, I don't even touch crochet. I'm pretty unique in that way.
Right? Oh my God, yes.
We're trying to serve up crochet to me because yarn, is in the pictures, but I'm specifically knitting, and it served me well. It's been an amazing journey, and I have a really exciting announcement that Pinterest just told me I was allowed to tell you today.
Go, yes.
Pinterest invited me to what they call, coincidentally, KnitCon. It is their Pinterest employee conference.
Oh, wow.
So this is happening in the end of May.
Wow.
And they reached out and they've signed me on to teach knitting. They have hundreds of different little learning things going on. It's like a 2-day conference.
Wow.
I'm just doing one little 45-minute session. They said each hour they're offering 30 different fun, creative opportunities for their employees. And they're also mixing in, amazing keynote speakers with famous people. And I'm allowed to sort of walk around throughout the day too and experience all of this. And they are doing a bonus Creator Day. So they've invited 30 of us to do this, and the rest of the classes are being taught by Pinterest employees because they said, there's a lot of talent that they have. And I'm just, it feels like, that Willy Wonka ticket.
Yes, you got the golden ticket.
Yes. Yes. And I asked how they found me. I just assumed I'm in San Francisco. They're in San Francisco. They Googled San Francisco knitter, but it wasn't. They were offering to fly me in. They just saw my Pinterest account, and their creative team selected me from my Pinterest account.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you
Really
go.
cool.
Oh, yep. Wow. Okay, Kristen, how can people reach out to you? How can they see what you're doing? What is the best way?
I think the best way is simply Googling Studio Knit. So those are 2 words, studio and knit.
Okay.
And everything I have comes up. My URL is actually Studio Knit SF for San Francisco.
Got it.
Because the regular one was taken, although I think I might be able to acquire it soon. That will be very exciting. So all of my other social is all just Studio Knit. So you can find me just by on any platform. And I do have a great teachable course for the absolute beginner knitter. So if anybody here wants to learn how to knit, I have a great step-by-step course on Teachable, designed specifically for someone that doesn't even know how many knitting needles they need. It's totally the basics. And that's been really successful and really fun. I love teaching new people. So if anyone's curious to learn how to knit, please find me.
And one last thing, you added your first party to Catch My Party. And it's beautiful. I'm going to link to it in the show notes because it was your wedding.
It was.
And it was all DIY, and it's beautiful. And I was oohing and aahing over the photos before we pressed record. So I want to say thank you for that. We will definitely be showing it off all over Catch My Party on our social networks and on our social channels. And in fact, it can help you grow your Instagram because we will show it on our page. And we'll link and we'll tag you. So thank you for adding it, and it's beautiful, and people should go check that out too.
Thank you.
And a belated congrats on your wedding.
Oh, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jillian.
If you liked this episode, please head to iTunes, rate us, leave a review. We've been getting so many lovely reviews. People are really starting to discover the podcast, and that's all because of you. So thank you so much for your support. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Jillian@milotree.com. If you have not tried MiloTree, head on over to milotree.com, install it on your site in under 2 minutes, and watch your followers and email list grow. Until next week.